Okay, checking. Can you hear me? Somebody please respond.
Yes, teacher.
Yes, teacher.
Good, good. Let me turn up my speaker. It's difficult to hear you. Okay. Just a few announcements before we start. The next few weeks of lectures are going to be very important, even though there are no final exams. But still, the lecture, I'll try to make it as fun and enjoyable as possible, but it will be very important to you in the next few lectures. Yeah, so you need to make sure, if you cannot attend the lectures itself, make sure one of your teammates attend the lecture itself. So during the next few weeks, we will have lectures on, like last week, Android apps, which is very important for your eBiz assignment or your group assignment. Today, we'll briefly talk about Android apps, and then we move on to financial forecasts, and you see that every single business plan, you need to have a financial forecast. Yeah, so we'll go through how to do the financial forecast itself in a simple way, like the way which we did with Android apps. It took me about 15 minutes or so to do Android apps. For financial forecast, it might not take 20 minutes. It might take about half an hour to go through the financial forecast itself. But I know most of you are not financial majors, and hence you're probably saying that I don't know anything about finance, so why should I do a financial forecast? Yeah. But don't forget, also, none of you are Android apps developers, yeah, but you all have to do Android apps anyway. And you saw how easy it is to do an Android apps anyhow. So not only you have to do Android apps and websites and financial forecasts, which we'll cover today, I'll go through the other bits and pieces in the next few weeks or so, things which you need, things like, I'll do like a Twitch kind of streamer, game streamer kind of walkthrough on clean tech assignment and talk about the strategies and how to optimize your strategies and so on as well. So not only it is important, the next few lectures or so cover things which you definitely need for your eBiz Hub assignment, but also for your clean tech assignments. But I'll try to make it as enjoyable as well, hopefully. I hope you are enjoying my lectures, but I'll try to mix things up as well. I mean, that's why we're doing Android apps and websites and now financial forecasting. Okay, so let's just remind ourselves what we did on Android apps. Maybe we'll do something a little bit more complicated on Android apps. I'll try to figure out how, just to remind you. On Android apps, what we covered last week is we looked at MIT App Inventor. So let's go to MIT App Inventor, not the libraries, sorry. It should be, we'll come back to the library in a moment anyhow. And we jump into create app. I think last week we covered Fly 2. And basically, you see how easy it is to write your own apps yourself. And not only that, eventually you all have to upload onto Google Play Store as well. The complication comes during the Play Store part, okay? So, anything, you need to have at least one person to focus on uploading to Google Play Store as well. So once it's up on Google Play Store, anyone in the world can, especially with an Android phone, should be able to access your website or your apps itself. So last week we kind of did this app here. We had like a map which home in on Guangzhou Software City, but we can pretty much home in on anywhere in reality. Let's home in on International University. So in the map first, actually. Map. Let's do an app which uses Google, some kind of Google map and maybe something to do with GPS and so on as well. Yeah, I'm pretty much doing this on the fly, so expect me to go wrong. So Google Map, let's jump into Google Map. I want this to be an audience participation. So give me, anyone in the class can give me ideas on how to do this app, okay? So any feedback on the apps itself, hopefully we do it on the fly as well. Let's do it in terms of community contribution project. So International University, initially the page will open up, home in on the IU. And you see the coordinate for IUs here. So let's copy the coordinate. And I want to map to, when I first open, it jumps on to the International University. I want this part to fill in a little bit more of the screen. This looks quite small, maybe 2/3 of the screen. So if I want 2/3, I just need to go to height on the map. And I want percentage of 33% of the screen, for example. No, I don't want to do that. I want it to be higher. 33, I think 33 of this. Yeah, I want 33 of the whole screen. So maybe not necessarily 33%, but maybe 60%. You can see it pretty much jumped to the International University straight away. Yeah, I think the IUs here, I believe. Let's just zoom out. Yeah, so National University, IUs here, so it opens up there. It will take 60% of the screen, and there will be a web component up here somewhere. Yeah, so maybe I'll do another button. Yeah, and it will home in on the International University when it comes to the map. Yeah, just let latecomers in. Yeah, so I need to change this button to IU, so text. I will write Ho Chi Minh City HCMIU button. So when someone click on this button, it should jump to this GPS corner, for example. So how do I do that? Let's name some of these buttons and make it a little bit more easier to understand. So this was the back button, I believe. So rename that to back button. This was the home button. Let's rename that. This was the HCMIU button. So let's rename that. HCMIU. This is the web component, so let's rename that. Web 1, let's call it Web 1. And this was the map. Yeah, call it Map 1. Map 1 is okay. So I want that if someone press on this button here, I want it to home in, because people are going to move around, zoom in, zoom out, and so on. I wanted to pretty much zoom in onto the university, for example. So how would I go about that? Yeah. So I know that there's a button called HCMIU, and we can control the map from the map object here. Yeah. So I can jump to block. Ignore these. These we were doing this last week, so I just drop in the bin because we don't need any more. Maybe these in the bin as well. We know that we have a button here. When someone presses on the button, it needs to do something. Okay, so we want a map. Oops, 6 on map. Let's see what function map gives us. We need to set the map to the university's GPS coordinate. Okay, so here, core map, and then pan to, we have longitude and latitude and so on, as well as zoom level as well. So this is what we need. So let's drag it out. We know that we need to drop it here. I think I accidentally removed this for some reason. Let's stick that back in again. So the web component needs to go back 1 page. Okay, so let's do that while we're here. Go back 1 page. Where is it? Here. Yeah, can go back. Go back here. This is the one. So you can see it's very easy to do this kind of programming. So I need to fill in longitude, latitude, as well as zoom level. So that needs to be a text or a number. So I jump up to text. I believe it's a text number. Oops, this doesn't go in here. So I know that it's probably require a number of some sort. Maybe number will be under the maths. Let's have a look, see if it is under maths. Yep, it's under maths. So maths is all I need. So I need to put in the 2 numbers which I did earlier. Let's copy paste this again, copy paste this again. So I need to put in 3 numbers to make the map zoom into the university. So I believe the first number here is longitude and the second number here is latitude. So let's paste these numbers in. So control copy, paste into the first number, and then get the second number, the latitude. The latitude into here, and sometimes zoom level as well. Let's check, see what was the zoom level previously. So skip back to designer, go to map. What were we using? We were using zoom level of 13. Yeah, so let's do that. Let's use zoom level of 13 over here as well. Switch back to block, designer, change zoom level to 13 as well. We don't need this anymore, so let's throw it into the bin. So hopefully it will have everything to do with the 4 buttons which we have here. Yeah. So let's compile it and see if it works. Let's see if it works. If I just press the button up here. So I pull over to one corner away from the university, press on HCMIU. Does it jump back? No, it doesn't jump back. Never mind. We can always build it and run it on the apps itself anyhow. So I build the app with a button. It can home in on the university. So I'm going to scroll around the map. When I press on the home button or the Ho Chi Minh City International University, it will home in on the university itself. give it a while for it to load. Don't forget that there's a web component on here as well, which jumps to Lava Tech. I can add GPS in as well if I need to. All the sensors and GPS and so on are here as well. But let's do one step at a time. So after this, yeah, I will get suggestion from the class. What other functionality should I add to my app? Okay, so it will be audience participation time after we run this apps first. So let's wait till it compile, then I'll load it onto my Android phone and run the apps, and we show and we'll see live demo. Let me delete the Fly 2 first. Okay, I deleted Fly 2, so I'll wait for it to give me my QR code where I can download the newest version with our map and the Ho Chi Minh City International University on the map itself. It's taking a short while. We just need to be patient. So please take this time to think of other functionality I can add onto this app, okay? Once I install and demo this, yeah, you can suggest your suggestions and we'll do it live yeah, to see if how easy it is to add extra function onto your Android app. It's taking a while to load. Maybe there's lots of people using the app inventor at the moment, so it's slowing things down. Compilation part 2, please wait. It's not changing, just need to be patient. 35% at the moment. Still 35%. While we waiting, anyone got any suggestion to add action functionality on my app? Any suggestion, anyone? While we wait? If you have suggestion, either send it through the in-call messaging or just speak out, yeah? So please have some ideas, yeah? We try to make this as fun as possible, so your participation is important. Still 35%. Very slow. Maybe the server is overloaded today for some reason. Still 35%. I hope my internet connection is okay. Looks okay to me. Still not changed, still 35%. Anyone with suggestion yet? Okay, if there's no suggestion, after we demo this app here, it's jumping to 50% already. we'll do a game, an Android game. Yeah, we'll do something, a classic game, Flappy Bird. Okay, so we'll write all Flappy Bird all on our app and compile it, and then download it to our Android phone as well. Unless some of you have some suggestion, it should be relatively quite straightforward. It wouldn't take us as long to do Flappy Bird on Android. Maybe the longest period will be the wait for the compilation. The server seems to be overloaded today for some reason. Ooh, 95% already. Come on, 100%. Good, good, good. Give me my APK. Okay. I'll scan the QR code and download it to my phone. And we'll demo the app. Okay, it's onto my mobile phone now. Let me just let you see. Yeah, you can see it's, I click on the, oops, let's do a refresh here. It should tell me to download. So I download the APK. Just pull back, yeah, focus. Download, that's fine, download file. Open file. It says security issues. Until I upload it to Google Play, which you will do soon, it will always talk about the security issues and so on. But we can figure out, we can fix that later on. So I need to allow unknown sources. Yeah, so I click on the unknown sources, allow it to install, because I know where it is from, just me who created it. So you can see the Fly 2 app, press install. Blocked by Play Protect, but I know where it's come from. I'm the one who wrote it anyway, so it doesn't have any bugs or anything like that, so I just press install anyway. It's installing. Wait for a short while it install. Still installing. App finish install. I can open it. Oh, it talks about send app for scanning. I don't need to send it to do any scan because it was me who written it anyway. I haven't put any virus or any problems into it. So I have the option to do done or open. I'll do done, and I'll show you on my phone where the apps are. I search for the app. I know it's called Fly something, so it's right in Fly. Yeah, it's Fly 2. Because Fly 1 is my Wednesday class. So Fly 2 is our app, which we just written. You can see it covers 60% of our stream. And it home in on the National University or the university itself. So I can go elsewhere. So let's go to another country or somewhere else. Let's do that. And by pressing the button on Ho Chi Minh City, it should jump back. Yeah. So I think this is Malaysia, I think. Or is it Thailand? So we're in Thailand. So we jump into Bangkok. Yeah. But when I press on Ho Chi Minh City International University, it should jump back to Ho Chi Minh City International University. I think. Maybe we entered the wrong coordinates. Yeah, I might have mistaken the longitude and latitude. We should have checked on longitude and latitude. So we're on the wrong coordinates. Yeah, so, but it should jump back to say, oh, actually, it is working. So it is Vietnam National University. Let's go elsewhere first. Press on that. So it jumps back to the National University, as you can see. So apps, relatively quite straightforward. For those who are interested in the apps itself, which we just created, let me send you the link, and you're welcome to play around with it. Copy link. So, app demo. I posted the link to the apps which we just created onto the in-call messaging. Yeah, so for those who are interested, you're welcome to install and play around with the apps itself. But like what you already saw, it's quite easy to do your own app anyway. So let's do something a little bit more complex and maybe more fun overall. So let's do, unless there's other suggestion from any of the students in class, we will do Flappy Bird. Any suggestion from anyone else other than my suggestion, which is Flappy Bird? For those who don't know what Flappy Bird is, let's do a Google search, Flappy Bird. Flappy Bird was written by a Vietnamese, I can't remember his name. But the game allows you to control this bird here, and you fly this bird, you jump up and down with the space sign, yeah? And you're trying to dodge these pipes. Oops, I'm dead. Let's restart. Actually, let me just zoom out a little bit. I think it's much too small. So Flappy Bird is just a game which you control this bird here. It allows you to flap the bird up and down, hence it's called Flappy Bird. I'm very bad at playing Flappy Bird. Okay, I think most of you know what Flappy Bird is. It's quite a popular game anyhow. For those who don't know what Flappy Bird is, I don't know what planet you have been living on. So we want to do this Flappy Bird on our mobile phone or an Android phone. What would we do? Yeah. So we can do like a app inventor search. App inventor, Flappy Bird. By searching, there are YouTube show you how to do Flappy Bird on App Inventor if you want. You're welcome to watch these YouTube videos. You can see there's 2 parts to it, and it's about 25 minutes overall. So 10 minutes on part 1, and part 2, 15 minutes. Yeah. So actually, it's lots more parts. So there's part 4 as well. So you're welcome to watch on YouTube how to do that. But in reality, Flappy Birds other people have created on App Inventor already. You can see here, community, App Inventor, EDU, talks about Flappy Bird, and someone has created Flappy Bird for you already. So you can go in and play around with their version of Flappy Bird and make your own changes overall. This is full-blown tutorial, due to 2 years. It shows you how to create Flappy Bird anyway. But we want to download the code itself. They might have it already anyway. So typically, tutorial and so on, they probably create Flappy Bird already. Yeah, so we can look at their games and we see how they created. You see a Flappy Bird. Let's play. Play YouTube video. So you see, it's not called Flappy Bird. It's Flappy Copter. Yeah. Very similar to Flappy Bird. All done on App Inventor. So they show you how to do it. you're welcome to go through the tutorial, step-by-step tutorial. We don't have time to go through all the tutorial today, but we can jump straight to their apps. Yeah, every apps on App Inventor, you should be able to access and see how other people created the apps itself. And then using them, you can make your own changes. So there's a few links down here. There are links for fonts. There's links for sound, links for graphics, and so on. In general, they will send you the link on App Inventor as well. I think this might be it. Flappy Copter AIA. We can import it into App Inventor. So let's download this here. So it's downloaded. Let's see if we can open it on our App Inventor. Let's dismiss this. App Inventor, import projects from AIA. We just download the AIA down here. So let's do that. Import from my computer, choose file, choose Flappy Copter AIA, press open, press OK. Maybe I should create a new project to do that. Maybe I should be doing that anyway. Actually, it's doing something. Let's see. Actually, it has done it. It imported the entire game into my App Inventor. So all the codes are available. This is Flappy Bird. All the media, all the way which they do things, such as graphics and so on, are all uploaded for me. Yeah, so all the block code all uploaded as well. You can click on blocks. Yeah, all the codes are here. Yeah. So feel free to play around with it, change the graphic around, maybe not Flappy Copter, maybe do a flappy head on myself or someone else's flappy head. See if you can guide someone's flappy head, you know, make their ears as the flaps, yeah, flap up and down, and make their face as a, let's do that anyway. Why not? We're trying to have fun here, okay? So let's compile this first and see what it looks like, and then we'll change it, yeah, with my head as the copter, with my ears flapping up and down as the wings of the copter. We're here to have fun anyway. So let's do that. Let's compile first to see how the game works on our Android phones first. It's quite a big file, so it might take a short while to load. But for now, I will take a snapshot of my face. There's me. Maybe I want a sideways expression like this. Yeah, so my head will go up and down. Let me just take a snapshot of my head, and I will change my head for the copter. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, I got a picture of my head. Let's see what it looks like. This is a live demonstration, yeah, so expect things to go wrong. Yeah, so this is my head. I will try to make my ear flap up and down if that's possible. And on the apps itself, you control my head going up and down through the tubes and so on. So maybe I need to change my ear somehow to flap it up and down. Let's see what they have anyway. So let's look at the website where we download all the graphics. Let's download the graphics. And we just need to change these helicopters for my head. Yeah. So this is the graphics copter. Add to my assets. Blah blah blah. How do I download this? This free graphic. Unity asset store. Flappy copter. Release package content. How do I download this? Unsure how I add this to my assets. Let's try this. I'm not a robot. It sends me a code. I fill in the code. I download the helicopter, and I change the helicopter to my head. I'll keep the other bits and pieces. I mean, we're here to have fun after all, not to do things in details. I'm seeing them sending text yet. No, I don't see them sending text yet. See if I can download it straight from the apps itself. Maybe it gives me access to download the apps. It's finished compiling. That's pretty quick. Let's install the apps on my phone and see what it looks like. If it's all working. If it's all working, then we can make changes and swap the copter for my head. So let me download the app first. Let's see, companion, scan QR code. You're welcome to play around with this as well. Let me just send you the link for those who wants to download Flappy Copter. Flappy Copter. Yeah, you're welcome to download and play around with it while we make changes to it. Okay, let's scan this, download it, install, open file, change setting, unknown access allowed, install Flappy Copter, install anyway. Please show you it on the screen. Hopefully you can see it. Let's do that. Finish install, so let's open it. Open the Flappy Copter. Yeah, you see Flappy Copter up and down. Ooh. Ooh. I'm pretty bad at this. Ooh. Let's see if I can pass first at least one tube. Ah. Not even one. Yes, one. Almost two. Never mind. So you see it's working on my phone already. I have access to all the source code on App Inventor. So now I just need to change the helicopter into my head. And then you should be able to see my head or control my head going up and down. So dismiss this. We know it's working already. Switch on designer. See if we can download the copter itself. So these are the sound files. Tap word, tap hand 1. So these are the hand, the finger tapping this thing here, the tap. This is the pipe. Orange copter 1, orange copter 2. So it has two animation, copter 1 and copter 2. See if I can download these. Preview. Yes, I can download. I will save this as an image. Save it onto download. So that's orange copter 1. Save. I want orange copter 2 as well. Preview. So this orange copter 2. Yeah. So you see it's slightly different. The wings are going up and down. So this wing here, the flappy up and the flappy down. Yeah. So all I need to do is I put my head here, and use the wing here as my ear, for example. So let's download this one as well. So save as image, Orange Copter 2, save. Okay, so now I have the two images, yeah, Orange Copter 1 and Orange Copter 2. I just need to replace the copter by my head. Actually, I can see the legs might be moving as well slightly, so this goes there. We'll keep the ear and the leg on my head, and we'll replace the copter with my head. Okay, so let's do that. Download, date added. These are the two files. I already have my head already. So let's open this one. Yeah. So let me just put my head into there. Now, let's see, how would I do this now? I will select my head somehow. Hang on. Someone wants to come in. Admit. Hang on, let me, you are seeing my screen at the moment, isn't it? Yep, okay, good. Let me select my head. It's not going to be pretty because we'll try to do this quickly. Control copy. Then I'll paste it over there. Oops, that's a bit too big. Maybe I want to change, let's undo this first. Let's change this. Let's see the number of pixels on this one first, okay? Adjust size. So it's 128 by 128. So I want to do like a 100 by 100 here. So let's change my head into 100 by 100 pixel. Change size. Oops, not that one. I want to change this picture here. Change size, adjust size. Maybe not 120, 110 by 110. It's gonna push my head to a weird side, but let's make it to a square. 110 by 110. Okay, into a square. Press OK. It shrunk my head. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Let's do a control copy just in my head here. Maybe only my face. Maybe only my face. Yeah. This first bit here. Let's do that. Control copy. Get over here. Control paste. Oops. Yeah. So that's one. Yeah, with my ear going up. Let's do the Orange Copter 2 as well. So the wings flapping. Okay. This is Copter 2. So I paste my picture over to Copter 2. Okay, that looks good. That looks fine to me. Just make sure. Let's just let someone, latecomers in first. Admit. Let me check the measurement. Make sure it's in the right direction. Fine adjustments. Here, maybe make this a little bit smaller. Oops. Okay, that looks fine here. Fine adjustment here as well. That looks good. That looks good. That looks good enough. Okay, done. So we'll save these. File, export. As copter 2, let's do number 1, save. And copter 1, export as well. And I'll put it number 1 here as well. Okay. Save. Okay, so I have the 2 picture of my face and the tail wagging up and down. I think the legs will move up back and forth as well. So let's close this. Let's close this. Let's upload my 2 pictures. Copter 1 here. Open. It should upload somewhere. Where is it? I don't see it. Here it is. Copter 1. Okay. There's 1 file. I'll upload my 2nd file. Copter 2. Open. Upload. So I just need to replace wherever there is orange copter 1. I want to replace it with 1. And wherever there's orange copter 2, I want to replace it with orange copter 2.1. Yeah, so wherever they are, I think that's the picture here. That's the orange 1 and 2, I believe, is the object copter. Here it is, copter. Let's look where it is. I don't see game canvas, header, tab, hand, pipe. I don't need to change the pipe, only need to change the copter. So only copter is this property here. So change the media, the graphics. It's going to be on the programming, the block side of things. It's not, if the property is not here, it's going to be in the block programming. So let's go to block programming. Find copter. When copter edge reach, get edge. No picture there. This is the end game. Ignore that. It's not going to affect us anyway. Score. Doesn't seem like anywhere. Time. Die flash container. Maybe there's somewhere else. Let's have a look at this again. It's up way up here maybe. So we need to find where copter is, and then we change the photos for my picture of my head rather than the copter. Global. I don't see it anywhere. Let's have a look. I don't see it anywhere yet. Nope. Screen. Don't see it there. Data. Nope. I don't need to change any of that either. Set pipe reference. Pipe. Set canvas. That's just the background. Set header. That's just the scores. Set up copter. This could be it here. Set copter height width. Screen height, screen copter. I don't see photos here yet. Not yet anyway. Maybe it's somewhere here, but I don't see it. Pipe gap. Copter enabled, true. Copter visible to true. Copter XY. Height, width. I don't see the photos here yet. Let's look at this. Which one is this? This is setup info. Hand. This is just to control the hand. I don't see it uses the picture yet. It could be here. Flappy clock. That's the one. So I just need to change this into Flappy 2.1 and Flappy 1.1. Yeah, so change this into Flappy 2.1 and this here Flappy 1.1. Orange Copter 1, I need to change this to Orange Copter 1.1. Okay, this stays the same. It looks fine. That looks fine. I don't need to change there. I don't need to change there. I don't need to change there. I don't need to change there either. That's just pipe. That's just pipe, 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 canvas. I think that's the only place we need to change it. I don't see it anywhere else. Unless you guys seen it anywhere else. I don't see it anywhere else. Yeah, it looks, I think that's the only place it is, yeah. We just scrolled, let's zoom out and see how much left. I think that's about it. I think that's the only place where Copter 1 and Copter 2 appears. Everywhere else is other components. Okay, so I presume that that's the only place anyway. We can always compile it and see if my face appears. So Android apps, APK, build. And when we're installed on our phones and you see my head flapping up and down, yeah, maybe you guys have a good laugh. And then basically you can see how easy it is for me to write a Flappy Bird, yeah, in not so, oh, I wouldn't call it Flappy Bird, Flappy Dr. Ho's head. It's 30%. I need to delete the old version first, so I can install the new version. So let's me uninstall Flappy Copter first. Kill it first. It's die Flappy Copter. Find Flappy Copter. And then remove Flappy Copter. Flappy Copter. So I remove it. Uninstall. Uninstall. Is it done yet? When it's done, I'll let you download it and play around with my head as well. So please try not to turn me into a big joke, okay? If you could. I'll let you download it and play around with it yourself. And you see how easy it is to write your own apps anyhow. It's taken a short while to compile. Just be patient. Okay, while we're waiting, any other suggestion from the class? No suggestion? When I finish compiling, I'll paste the link to download the apps and you can play around with it yourself. Maybe I'll change the icon to my head as well. Let's find my head. Okay, that's my head here. Let's change this into, export it to Dr. Ho logo. PNG, save. And then I will do Android icon, isn't it? Android icon. No, Android icon converter generator. So generator. Click to drag. Choose Dr. Ho's head. Yeah, generate. Let's change the logo of the apps to my head as well. Okay, so it's unzipped it for me. So I will use the Play Store logo, this one here. So I need to upload Play Store logo. Let's do that. Still compiling. Maybe in the next version, I will. This is still compiling the first version. I will upload the media, and then I'll go to Screen, and I will change the icon or the logo into my head as well. So I'll probably have to recompile it after all. But let's be patient. Still 35. I think there's a lot of people on the server, so it's taking some time. While it's compiling, I cannot upload. Oh, actually, I can upload. Or can I upload? Let me try. No, it doesn't work. Don't forget, you can do also iOS apps as well. If you use Thunkable, which is very similar to App Inventor, you can compile both Apple iOS apps as well as Android apps. And pretty much, if you have an app, both Android and iOS, you cover the majority of mobile phones out there. Still 35. It seems to stuck at 35. You just need to be patient. Let's check the time, 2:20. Let's upload and play the game first, and then we'll take a 15 minutes break. Yeah. I think it should be finishing soon. It's taking a short while. It is a big program, don't forget, after all. Still stuck at 35. It's taking a while. We don't need this anymore. Still 35. Could it be any slower? Probably could be. While we wait for it to finish compiling, don't forget that in the lecture notes, I have sent the link onto the messaging if you want to download lecture notes in case you cannot download from the course itself. Please go through. There's a few tutorial on how to do how to use MIT App Inventor 2. You saw on my Google search, you can learn more sophisticated apps on YouTube as well. So don't just use these links. If you want to do like ride sharing apps or any other kind of apps, e-commerce apps or any kind of apps, game apps and so on, go to YouTube. The resource is quite vast. I mean, you saw me doing like a YouTube search earlier. So you can do like App Inventor what was it? Flappy Copter, wasn't it? Flappy Copter. Yeah, so it shows you in details. It was this particular app, text-based tutorial, like Flappy from scratch using App Inventor. So this was the, you're welcome to watch this. I think it's just a simple, what we saw earlier, but our game is going to have my face in front of this copter. But you can watch other, if you want to have more details, there's plenty of tutorial on YouTube on how to do Flappy Copter or Flappy Bird or other apps as well. So do use Google search or even YouTube to find these things. Maybe these ride sharing, App Inventor, ride share. Maybe I might be lucky. App Inventor sharing components. No, it might not have ride sharing. Maybe it has instruction on how to do map. Yeah, map markers, GPS, and so on. It shows you how to use maps. Yeah, so maybe from there you can figure out how to do your own ride sharing, right? Like Grab or Uber or whatever. Let's check see it's finished. Ah, it's finished. Let me send you the link so you can download and play around with my head as much as you want. Can we make any apps, or it must be related to our business plan? Well, eBiz Hub business plan. You need to rewrite it to match your app. That's totally fine. There are many people whose business is built around the apps itself. Yeah. So as long as the apps relates to your eBiz Hub, then that's good. I mean, I'm looking for much of a package. Yeah, eBiz Hub is a package. The package include websites, apps, as well as upload to Google Play, as well as financial forecasts and so on as well. Okay, so you're welcome to download my head if you want, Flappy Dr. Ho's head. I will do that as well, and I'll upload to my phone and play around with my head. So let me scan the QR code. Scan QR code, scan, okay. Download app, well, download, only 4 megabytes, not a big game. Must be my head is so small, it only take up 4 megabytes. Install game. Install anyway. Okay, let me just switch back so you can see my head flapping up and down. Okay, turn up caption, turn off caption. Okay, so it's installed. Don't send. Open up the apps itself. I haven't seen. Oh, you can see here. It's my head flying, and the wings is going up and down, and the helicopter blade is going around as well. So let's play Dr. Ho's flappy head. Woo! 1, very bad. Very bad. Yeah, never mind. You can see that it's quite straightforward to do. A lot of the apps has been done and uploaded onto the web, and you just need to take it and adapt it to your purpose. Very similar to eBiz Hub business library. Yeah, so you just take the business plan, adapt it to your own purpose. Yeah? Same with apps. Doesn't have to be Flappy Bird. It could be any other apps itself, which is similar to your business. Just do a Google search or YouTube search, and you'll find something similar, hopefully. If not, you just need to write or find something not necessarily similar, but close enough, and then adapt it to your own purpose itself. Okay. Okay, we'll take a 15 minutes break, and then we will return with financial forecasting after the break. Mm, 15 minutes break. We return at 2:45. Okay, can you hear me? Hello? Anyone? Somebody please respond.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Just before we took the break, so one thing which I've forgotten is to change the logo as well. Change the logo of the screen. Don't forget the screen has a logo as well. So let's change that logo into here into my head. Yeah, so first I need to upload the logo of my head. Where it is, Play Store. Okay, upload. Play Store.png. Upload in Play Store, so it's here. Then I need to change the logo. Where is the logo now? Theme, classic, title. Let's change this into Flappy Dr. Ho. Flappy Dr. Ho. Where's logo? Here is logo. Change it to Play Store. Press OK. That should work anyhow. So the name will be Flappy Dr. Ho's head. Title visible. Google title ready. I will build it in the back, and I will give you to download if you want. But let's move on anyhow. Hit compile in the back. It will take a while to compile. In the meantime, we will focus on the financial forecast. Okay. So every business plan needs a financial forecast. So let's open up you have access to thousands of business plan, yeah, which is in the business plan library. We'll open up a business plan library. Where is it? Let's change this into this file list. Let's open up a random one. Say this one here. Yeah. Every business plan will have a business plan or a financial forecast. Yeah. So let's have a look. Accounting firm, alcohol-free, and statements RK. Let's go to accounting firm first. So this is an accounting firm. They are financial companies. So of course they will have a financial forecast. They will have balance sheet, they have cash flow statements, they have profit and loss statements, and so on. All the necessary statements for financial forecasts, because they are basically, like the name suggests, accounting companies. Of course they have it. So typical of business plan, they will have a executive summary, tell you about their services, financial issues, and so on. Mission statements, management teams, sales forecasts, typically 1 to 3 years forecast in general. Typically, most startups does not know whether they will survive past their first year. So in general, a 1 year financial forecast is more than adequate for most purposes. Yeah? If you want a longer one, maybe 3 years. Yeah? At the moment, especially at your stage, no one needs a 5-year business plan or 10-year business plan. I mean, it's pointless if you don't even know if you will survive in your first year. So, like I said, more than satisfactory, even if you have a 1 year financial forecast. Yeah. In general, 5 years and 10 years financial forecasts are more useful for more established companies in general. They probably will survive another 5 years or 10 years. For startups, you don't even know you're still going to survive your first year. So you can see here, various other information. So in your eBiz Hub, you need to have something similar. Yeah. So maybe you're not accounting companies, maybe something else, but in general, you need to have the essential components of what it is to be a business plan. And in general, always at the end of the business plan, there is the financial forecast. Yeah? So financial plan, underlying assumptions, sensitivity analysis, and so on. Typically, you see here 3 years, general assumptions, profit and loss statements, yeah, cash flow analysis, which is very typical of most business plan, and a balance sheet as well. Yeah, so that is what a typical business plan or financial forecast would look like. You have other things like break-even analysis, business ratios, and so on, profit and loss statements, and so on, in general as well. And these they kind of break it down into details, you know, on a monthly basis here, rather than annual basis. This is a lot more important, especially when you are a startup. If you don't know you're going to survive your first year, then you need to have at least a 1 year monthly financial forecast, yeah, which we won't go into today. So here up to 12 months, this is year 2, on a monthly basis, year 2 going up all the way up to maybe even to year 3. So this is year 2. Then they switch over to a quarterly basis to go up to year 3. Yeah, so you kind of expect that. I mean, they are an accounting companies after all, so of course they're going to do something similar to that. You, as a normal companies in general, don't need to go into details, don't need to switch between monthly and quarterly. You're welcome to do it if you want to. You are more than capable of doing it if you want to. And you can do as sophisticated as this financial forecast if you want to as well. Okay, so that's on accounting companies. Here you have a non-financial companies and alcohol-free entertainment centers. They're going to be less sophisticated, less financially sophisticated compared to the accounting companies. So you don't expect them to have a very detailed financial forecast. Yeah, so let's have a look anyhow. They have typical components. You have the executive summary, market analysis, statistics, competitions, personnel, support staff, some kind of salaries calculation, business strategy, services which they offer, sales category, entertainments, marketing and sales plan, operational plans, and so on. And right at the end, always is the financial analysis. And as you can see, because they're not as sophisticated as the accounting companies, that's all they have. I mean, they have a very simple 3 years forecast of sales and expenses and net income overall. Yeah, so that's it. That's their financial forecast. So this is what we call a simple pro forma. The accounting companies, which we saw earlier, is a complex pro forma. So let's look at another business plan. Here we have RK, same components, executive summaries, various different details, and right at the end is the financial forecast once more. So here again, they have a very complicated sales forecast and profit and loss statements and balance sheets and cash flow analysis and so on. Yeah, but typically it's 3 years as well. So this company here is a lot more sophisticated, so that they can also do a complex pro forma rather than a simple pro forma. Okay.
Sorry, teacher.
Yeah, go ahead.
You have not shared the slide.
Ah, okay, now you tell me. Okay. You should have told me earlier, anyhow. Okay, let's go through it again once more. Business plan library. Okay. I think most of you know how to access the business plan library. You go to the course website, you look for business plan handbook collection, you click on view, it will open up the business plan library. Yeah, so you have access to thousands of business plans. That's what you can see here. So let's look at a book. Yeah, each book contains about 20 business plans in total. A typical book volume number 28. Yeah, in this book, there's about 20 or so business plan. Once it's finished loading. You can see the slide now, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Good, good. Okay, so the business handbook here, about 20 business plan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 business plan exactly. We'll look at the first 3 business plan. First one is a financial accounting companies. So they're going to be financially experts themselves. And alcohol-free entertainment centers, they're not too much of an expert. And RK, somewhere in the middle, not necessarily as an expert as the accounting companies, but somewhere in between. More sophisticated and alcohol-free, but less sophisticated than accounting firm. So let's look at the accounting firm first. This is going to be sophisticated. Yeah, they're well versed in finance, so of course they're going to do a very detailed financial forecast. Yeah, so they are certified accountants themselves, CPA, associate accountants. Typical of any business plan, there are components which are typical, things like executive summary, talks about services, talks about financing, talks about mission, talks about the team, the management team, the sales forecast, and so on. Yeah, it's an accounting company, so they're going to do things in details. Yeah, so all these we've broken down into individual components, require funds. They will spell out in detail. And then towards the end of the business plan, every business plan will have an ending, yeah, and usually is the financial forecast. Yeah, so here we jump to part number 7, typically is the end of the business plan. There they put the financial plan or the financial forecast. Typical financial forecast is going to be a 3 years financial forecast. For startups and so on, 1 year is more than adequate. And you can do a monthly, 1 year basis. So the accounting companies, more sophisticated, they will have profit and loss statements. They will have cash flow analysis. They will have balance sheets. They may also have break-even analysis. Yeah, but they are accounting companies, so they'll do it all once again, but on a monthly basis. You see here, previously it was a 3 years annual basis, year 1, year 2, year 3. And then they break it down into details on a monthly basis. So month 1, 2, 3, up to month 7, then up to month 12, and then first month of year 2, and then they switch to quarterly. Yeah, so year 2, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Yeah, and in year 3, they jump straight to annual basis itself. Yeah, so you can see that they're very well versed in what they do. Yeah, same here, profit loss statements, quarterly in year 3, they will pretty much jump into an annual basis. And that should be a 2. So they made a mistake. They're not perfect. Even though they're accounting companies, they're not perfect. That 2 should be a 3. Similarly here, cash flow statement, monthly basis. And then towards year 2, they will switch to quarterly basis and then switch to an annual basis towards the end. Very sophisticated. This company here, not so sophisticated. They're alcohol-free entertainment centers. They're not financial professionals. So we don't expect them to do things in detail. Typical components, executive summary, market analysis, yeah, the usual. Statistic, competition, personnel, talks about the organization structures and so on. And then always at the end is the financial forecast or financial plan. Operation, then towards the end, financial analysis. Similar to the others, 3-year financial forecasts, 2014, 2015, 2016. But that's it. That's their financial forecast, just this table here. Yeah. Consists of sales projection, expenses, and net income. Yeah, very straightforward. So this is what we call a simple pro forma. The account companies was a complex pro forma. So let's look at the RK companies. RK somewhere in the middle, not too sophisticated as the accounting companies, but not as simple as the alcohol-free companies. So similar components as all the other business plan, and always towards the end, it is the financial projection, financial plan. In the financial plan, similar to the other two business plan, 3-year analysis, year 1, year 2, year 3, but this time they have like profit and loss statements, they have cash flow statements, they have balance sheets and so on, but they don't do it in details on a monthly basis like the accounting companies, as you can see. It's all on, actually they did do it on a monthly basis as well. So it seems like that this RK companies is as sophisticated. The monthly basis on year 1, year 2, switch to quarters. So they did something similar to the accounting companies. So it seems like this company here, the Arcade, has an accountant, and they're doing things a lot more sophisticated compared to the alcohol-free. Yeah, so as sophisticated as the accounting companies. So we're trying to do it today. I know you guys complaining that I'm not a financial student. My major is business management. We don't know anything about finance. But you don't know anything about Android apps anyway, or even website, but you're still doing Android apps and websites anyway. But in general, finance is going to be similar to the Android apps on App Inventor. It's not that difficult. It's easy if you think it is easy. It is hard if you think it is hard. Yeah, so it's about your mindset. You think it's easy, I guarantee you it will be easy for you. But if you automatically made up your mind it is hard, then I guarantee you it will be hard for you. Yeah, so similar to Android apps, maybe financial forecast, I'll probably do all this in 20 minutes, whereas Android apps, I might probably can do Android apps in 10, 15 minutes. But I'll show you how to do financial forecasts in about half an hour, maybe half an hour. What time is it anyway? It's 3:07 at the moment. Hopefully we'll have time to cover everything today. Yeah. I think we can cover everything today. It's not that difficult. Okay, so in this today, we'll cover the simple pro forma, a simple one table kind of financial projection. More than good enough to present to your friends and your family in your business plan. But in general, not so sophisticated. So hence, for financial professionals like myself, or banks and venture capital, and for other financial kind of sophisticated investors, you need a complex pro forma. So we'll cover both simple and complex pro forma today. And maybe we'll go through a few tips and tricks on what you need to look out for when it comes to financial projection. So why do you need financial forecasts? It's a very disciplined kind of means for you to be able to evaluate whether your business or your startup is worth investing in the first place. If it's not worth investing in the first place, then you should not invest in it. Yeah, there's better things to do. You will save your money to do other things instead. But how do you know unless you do a financial forecast? Yeah? If you don't do any analysis in terms of finance at all, you don't know if your investment in terms of your startup is better than just deposit your money into a bank, for example. So it's a disciplined way to evaluate whether the cash need of your venture, as well as the return of your venture, is more than worth it and worth the attempt or not. If it's not worth attempt, just put your money in the bank, for example. It allows you to determine whether your venture deserves investment from other people or not. Yeah, you will use your financial forecast to communicate with investors or bankers or venture capitalists and so on. You'll be able to price your company to see whether it's worth it for them to invest, to jointly invest with you in your business or not. It also allows you to compare your startup with other forms of investment. At the moment, you as a student are investing in your degree. You are paying lots of money to university, hoping for a return after you finish your university degree. Hopefully, you will get a return by having a university certificate. But what kind of return is it? I mean, how can it compare with, say, a startup, for example? Instead of spending all the money and paying university tuition fee, you could invest all that money into a startup. So a financial forecast allows you to do that. You can compare what is the return from your startup using a financial forecast compared to what the return is from a university degree, for example. And then from there, you can make an informed decision. At the moment, you haven't made any informed decision yet because you haven't done your financial forecast yet. Yeah? So all you know is your parents has invested their money, their hard-earned money, for you to earn your degree. But it also allows you to demonstrate to potential investors your project's merits, as well as negotiate the kind of right prices for your startup as well. Yeah, this is very important. This is very important since you kind of seen this in your clean tech assignment. When you ask for venture capital money, they will, or even when you watch Shark Tank as well, and you see this, the venture capital or the shark will offer a price for your company. They will lend you, say, $100,000 US for, I don't know, XX percentage of your company. Without a financial forecast or some kind of forecast in terms of how much your company is worth, then you will make an uninformed choice in terms of valuation of your company. So hence, a financial forecast is very, very important. Unless you make your own forecast and so on to see how much your company is worth, then whenever you negotiate with venture capitalists or even with Shark or Shark Tank, you're going to be making uninformed decisions. It also allows you to benchmark your startup with other startups or other projects which are also available to you. Then you can make an informed choice which project you should put all your resources on, yeah, rather than randomly put your resources on something without doing any analysis at all. Financial forecast will allow you to do these kind of analysis. Separate to that, you need to ask, before you do a financial forecast, you need to ask yourself some basic question. Who is the audience of your financial forecast? If it's venture capital or bankers or accountants and so on, then you need a complex pro forma. Yeah, something as detailed as what we just saw here, especially with the RK business. Yeah, things done on a monthly basis, but not only that, it has cash flow projections for cash flow statements, profit and loss statements, balance sheets, all the necessary financial data for a financial expert to analyze. But if it's for your friends and your family, someone who isn't as financially sophisticated, then that is not necessary. If you give them the spreadsheet or the cash flow statements of of the arcade to your friends and your family, most of them probably switch off. Unless they are bankers and accountants themselves, they probably switch off and throw your business plan in the bin. And hence, for your friends and your family, for those who are not as sophisticated when it comes to finance, a simple pro forma is more than adequate. And simple pro forma is similar to the alcohol-free business plan that we just saw earlier. Is this it? No, not that one. Where was it now? Okay, yeah. So is this here a simple sales forecast and expense forecast, a net income forecast? Relatively quite straightforward. You also need to ask, do you have in-house expertise? Do you have an accountant among your co-founder? Now, among the hacker, hustler, and hipsters, is there one which is financially well-versed? He or him can help you and do the financial statements and the financial forecasts. Then you need to ask yourself, what kind of data do you have? Do you have external data? Do you have internal data? Do you have assumptions? Do you have facts? And you need to have all the necessary data to do your financial forecast. Oops. And then you need to decide whether the business plan is for your friends and family. Is your friends and your family a simple pro forma more than adequate, or a simple financial forecast more than adequate? But if it's for financial professionals and so on, then you need a complex pro forma. I am a financial professional, so therefore you need to do a complex pro forma for your eBizHub assignment. Yeah? I'm not your friends and your family. Maybe your friends, your family, then you can go get away with a simple pro forma. But for the eBizHub statement, you need to do a complex pro forma. We'll go through both. The thing is, the simple pro forma is so simple, it's not worth doing. Yeah? And hence, I'm forcing you to do, all groups need to do a complex pro forma. Should you want to create multiple scenarios? In most cases, one scenario is more than good enough. You've seen the business plan earlier. They are all in one scenario, and that is the expected scenario. Sometimes the worst case scenario is good, but no one needs a best case scenario. So don't do a best case scenario. It's not worth it. But no one's interested in best case. People are interested, especially with startups, whether you survive or not. So they're more interested in the worst case or the expected case. Now we're in COVID pandemic, so in general, most people will be interested in the worst case. So maybe the expected case is, what if the world get over the COVID pandemic? So this is the expected case. The worst case would be, what if the pandemic, COVID, lasts another 2 years? But you, as a startup, survive for another 2 years with COVID happening. Yeah. So in general, these are a lot more useful overall. Yeah. But in general, most people in general just do the expected case. That's more than adequate for most purposes. But in this current situation, maybe it's warrant a worst case scenario as well. If COVID lasts for another year or so, or 2 years, will you survive? Nobody interested in best case scenario, so don't do a best case scenario. It's not worth it. There's no use for it in general, anyhow. Complex versus simple. We'll go through complex and simple, but in general, most cases, in general, you only need to do a 1 year financial statement or 1 year financial projection. Or if you want to do a little bit longer, up to 3 years is more than adequate. Don't do 5 years, it's not necessary for startups. And don't do 10 years, it's not worth the time for people to read it even. You can do a hybrid. You can do simple, hybrid, or complex. So simple is somewhere similar to the alcohol-free business plan. Complex is like the accounting or arcade business plan. Hybrid is somewhere in the middle, not too simple and not too sophisticated. We'll skip through this slide, it's not needed. In general, finance is very, very easy if you have the right mentality. Money just goes round in circle. With every single company, you start up with some amount of cash. Your cash can be of various different forms. It can be investment capital, or you can borrow it from the bank. Investment capital are like your money which you borrow from your friends and your family. And hence, if you do lose it all, it's not going to affect much. Your friends and your family will forego their money. Whereas banks and so on, which are known as debt and so on, typically they will secure it on some kind of assets in your company, like your land or your house or your car and so on. So in general, that's what the main difference between equity and debt is all about. Equity in general, if you don't pay it back, then it's not a big problem. Debt, if you don't pay it back, then it is a bigger problem. But in general, overall, you start off with a combination of cash, which can consist of a combination of amount of equity and amount of debt. The so-called beginning cash. With that cash, you can only use it to do certain things. You can either pay salaries to your employees or buy raw material from, if you're a manufacturer, as well as invest in fixed assets such as table, chairs, machineries, and so on to process your raw material. With these three components, the employees, the machineries, and the raw material, you can produce products or even services. And you can store these products in your warehouse, and those are known as your inventory. So products, completed products stored in your warehouses. Your products or your service can be sold to clients. It can be done through cash sales. You get cash immediately back into your bank account, or it can be done through credit sales. And typically, a lot of businesses, it has to be done through credit sales. So typically, when you sell some products, especially business to business rather than business to clients and consumers, when you do business to business, typically the business, which is your client, will have 1 month before they pay back or pay for your products. So typically, most business to business is done through a credit sales, where you exchange the products, and usually the clients have about a month before they can pay back. But not all business clients pay back. Sometimes a business will go bankrupt and does not have the money to pay back, and hence you can have potential problems in terms of collection. But in general, all business produce products or services and sold them through sales or credit sales and so on. And at the end of the day, you will have, or the end of the year, you will have some ending cash. This ending cash can go one of 4 different routes. It can be used to pay back your equity holders, such as your friends, your family, in the form of dividends. Or it can be used to pay interest payments or even principal payment to your bank loans, as well as used to pay the taxes on your profit. But there's a 4th component. You can reinvest some of this profit which you made in your company back into the beginning cash amount. In other words, you reinvest into the next year, yeah, to grow your company. If you have more cash, you can hire more employees, you can buy more raw materials, or you can buy more machinery to increase your production and grow as well. So your ending cash can be of one of four routes. You know, pay the governments, pay your interest, pay dividends, or reinvest back in your company. So all companies in general can be decomposed into something as simple as that. You know, it's just go round and round in a circle. There are areas where cash can escape. So in terms of collection, you can lose cash because some of your clients will not pay back your credit sales. Or you lose it through natural disasters, or maybe through theft and so on. Yeah, but in general, the cash flows go round and round in circles, and everything can be easily accounted for. So let's cover the simple pro forma first. Yeah, that's relatively quite simple. In general, with a simple pro forma, you only need to make 4 assumptions. How much can you sell your beginning asset for? So say I have $100,000 US. I invested it, hire people, buy raw materials, invest in fixed assets, and produce product from my beginning assets. How can I sell? How much can I sell all those assets, all those inventory for? So beginning assets is just this component here. I invest in all these and produce the products and services. How much can I sell this for? I can sell it for 2 times beginning assets, or 3 times, or 4 times, or 5 times, depends on your strategy. Let's assume 2 times beginning assets. So this is the second assumption I made, 2 times beginning assets. Beginning assets, how much I invest at the beginning. And then I can make a third assumption, how much profit I'm going to make. Yeah, so 10% profit. It means that it will cost me 90% in terms of the salaries and the raw materials and the fixed assets and so on. The cost of doing business is 90%. So therefore, 10% will be profit. Yeah, so this is my third assumption. My fourth assumption is how much of my profit should I reinvest, or how much of my beginning assets should I reinvest and grow the company. In this case, I assume 6% of beginning assets will be reinvest back into the company and grow the companies. All the others are based off the numbers which we already have. Yeah? So sales, net income, retained earnings. So you see again, net sales, retained earning, and beginning asset, retained earning. All the numbers we have up there. Yeah? So in general, for the simple pro forma, only need to make 4 assumptions for my business case, whatever that business case happens to be. Once I have those 4 assumptions, by plugging into this equation, I can find out my sales projection, my net income, my retained earning, my dividends, as well as my ending assets. Yeah, don't forget the dividends. It consists. I mean, the cash ending here can go off 4 different ways. You can pay dividends. It can pay interest. You can pay tax. Or it can be reinvested into companies. So all that is here. So when we talk about dividends, we need also interest and tax, yeah? Whereas the retained earning is the reinvestment back into the company to grow the company. So the 4 components are here, retained earning, dividends, interest, and tax. Yeah, so when we talk about dividends, we mean also interest and tax as well. So assets, a much more simpler form of this here, can be simplified down into here. Here we ignore tax and interest payments, so we only have dividends. So the more simpler form of this graph is this graph here. Yeah. So this dividend contains tax and income, tax and interest payment as well. So let's go round in circle. Yeah, so we can do that as well. So in this table here, we just use the 5 equation which we saw earlier, plus the 4 assumptions. 2 times beginning assets, the beginning assets itself, 10% and 6%. So we assume beginning assets is $1 million US. So therefore sales is equal to 2 times 1 million is $2 million. Net income is sales times 10%. Yeah? 10% of sales, which is $2 million, is equal to $200,000. Retained earning is 6% of beginning assets. So beginning assets is $1 million US, therefore retained earning is 60,000. Very simple. Dividends is just net income minus retained earning. So dividends is net income, which is 200,000, minus retained earning. What we reinvest in the companies is 60,000. So therefore, dividends is going to be 140,000 US dollar. So therefore, ending assets just beginning asset plus retained earning. Yeah. So ending assets is beginning assets 1 million plus retained earnings 60,000. Therefore, it's 1,060,000 US dollar. So at the end of year 1 is the beginning of year 2. Yeah, so we just move this number down into year 2. And we follow the whole process over again. So sales, this is 2 times beginning assets, which is 2.12 million US dollar. Net income is 10% of that. It's just 212,000 US dollar. And retained earnings is 6% of beginning assets. Beginning assets is 1.06 million US dollar. Therefore, 6% of that is just $63,600. And similarly, dividends is $148,400,000. And ending assets, this is beginning assets plus retained earning. Beginning assets, retained earning equal 1.1236 million US dollar. And we just repeat, and hence we have a simple pro forma of our sales projection up to 5 years. You can do this on a monthly basis as well. In this case, we did it on an annual basis. We have income statements, we have reinvestments, we have payouts in terms of dividends, and we have assets. Yeah, so very simple indeed. Yeah, it took us about 5 minutes to do a financial projection when it comes to a simple pro forma. We can convert this into sales forecasts, income statements, cash flow statements, just by all the data is necessary is in these tables. You have assets here, you have sales projection here, you have profitability here. Don't forget the costs and so on. The cost of doing business and so on. Because we assume the profit is 10%, therefore operational cost is going to be 90%. Yeah, so the cost is just 90% of sales. Yeah. Because 10% is profit, so therefore 90% is going to be cost. So you have profit, you have costs, you have reinvestment, you have dividends, you have ending assets, you have all what is necessary for a financial projection. Okay, let's move on. So we can add more sophistication by integrating GDP and inflations and so on. We won't go through the details. I think we'll skip through these. For example, you want to integrate, if you have some sales history, as a startup, you probably will not have any sales history, but if you are in small businesses, you will have maybe a 5-year history or 6-year history of your sales. But you can use those history to predict what is your next year's sales going to be. In this case, we take like an average. Yeah. But then we can also integrate in GDP and inflation as well. In this case here, we integrate in inflation. So hence we have real term with inflation integrated into our numbers, our sales forecast. Here we're using weighting. Maybe the business 1 year ago is more likely to be similar to today's business compared to 5 years ago. 5 years ago, maybe our business is very, very different. So hence we can weight the 1 year ago with higher weighting, 5/15. 5 years ago, our business might not look like what it is as of today. So we weighted with a smaller amount, 1/15, for example. So by doing so, we can have a more realistic kind of sales forecast in this case. In this case, we use straight line interpolation, similar to here. Straight line interpolation. By having a history, we can predict what's next year or next month going to be by doing a straight line sales forecast using interpolation or regression, for example. Relatively straightforward. Next, we'll cover complex pro forma. Let's check the time. You may not have the time. I think I went a little bit too slow on the simple pro forma. I think we'll finish here, and rather than start on the complex pro forma and then rush it. But in general, it's relatively quite straightforward. If you understand the simple pro forma, the complex pro forma should be a lot. It's as simple, if not, it's almost the same. It just means that you have to do a little bit more work on the complex pro forma. But rather than going into it today, I think not rushing it, we're in danger of rushing ourselves if we jump into it today. We'll go through it next week. Yeah, so it won't take long. It takes only about 10 minutes. But if I do another 10 minutes, it's pushing it. So don't think it is complex, even though it's called complex pro forma. It's relatively quite straightforward pro forma, I think. I think we should rename it. Yeah? Maybe not complex pro forma, but maybe call it relatively straightforward pro forma. Relatively straightforward. Maybe the relatively straightforward pro forma is less scary than the complex pro forma, even though they're the same thing. If you call it relatively straightforward pro forma, maybe you will be less scared of it, yeah, rather than call it a complex pro forma. And maybe you'll switch off if you call it complex. Yeah, let's call it relatively straightforward pro forma. Okay, any question from anyone before we finish? We'll continue next week on finishing off the complex pro forma and then another topics maybe. Not complex pro forma, let's rephrase that. Next week we will finish off the relatively straightforward pro forma. And then from that we'll move on to other topics and so on. Yeah. It shouldn't take us too long, maybe 15 minutes or so. 15 minutes is a bit long, maybe 10 minutes or so to finish up the relatively straightforward pro forma. And then maybe we'll move on to a new topics after that. Okay? Any question, anyone? before we finish here? No question? No one? Actually, before I go, if you want to download the apps, I thought I built it already. Maybe it's on this screen here. No. I thought I built it. Maybe it's here. No, that's the app icon. Anyhow, I built it, and I will post the Dr. Ho's flying flappy head onto Blackboard. You're welcome to install it on your phone if you want to have a quick laugh every time you open up your phone. Actually, it's almost done. It's very quick, surprisingly quick. Earlier, it took us quite a long time to wait for it. I think less people are on the server now, so that's why it's so fast. Okay, I'll paste the link to the Android apps in case you want my face on your phone. Copy link address. Just for a laugh, okay? So, what did I call it? I think I call it Flappy Dr. Ho, isn't it? Android app. Okay, you're welcome to download it and install it on your phones just for keepsake. But don't forget, you need to do your own apps, whatever your app's going to be, whether it's m-commerce, e-commerce, game, or some kind of ride share, or some kind of other form apps. Yeah, maybe even a TikTok or a YouTube or Google Map or whatever. Yeah, your imagination is your only limiting factors. Okay. Anyone with questions? If there's no question, I will see you next week. Bye bye, everyone.